Intestinal and Childhood Infections class provided by me. Yeah, by me. Okay. Outline. We have to talk about intestinal infections and childhood infections, as I said. Okay, it's like a case-based learning. So a 45-year-old Bangladeshi woman with atrophic gastritis has sudden onset of severe, profuse, watery diarrhea. Over the next 3 days, she becomes severely dehydrated. On physical examination, she is febrile but has poor skin texture. Laboratory studies of the diarrheal fluid show microscopic flecks of mucus but no blood and few white blood cells. A blood culture is negative. The woman is hospitalized and receives intravenous fluid therapy for 1 week. Which of the following is the most likely diagnosis? Oh yeah, you can answer please while I discuss this question, discuss what's going on in this case. First of all, look at the origin of this woman, Bangladeshi. I think this country is very poor, and they have lack of water, of clean water. Their cities are overpopulated, so it's quite difficult to keep themselves clean. Yeah, so they are in poor condition, in circumstances prone to infections. With atrophic gastritis is important in this case, surprisingly enough. Yeah. Atrophic gastritis means that the atrophy, the reduction of mucous membrane appeared. So, you know, when some organ is inflamed, it means that it's damaged by some factor, some offender. And after a while we can see that the normal structures, the normal glands in the stomach have to be replaced by connective tissue, simple connective tissue. So it doesn't work as glands. It works like support for glands, but it cannot produce any acids. In atrophic gastritis, you could foreshadow low level of acids in stomach, hypochlorhydria, low amount hypochlorhydria, low amount of hypochloric acid, has sudden onset of severe profuse. We use the word profuse to, oh yeah, what profuse with their diarrhea to show their massive character. So this diarrhea is severe with tons of fluid, yeah, going through your intestines, watery with a lot of water. So sometimes stool is similar to water, with some small pieces of mucus in it. Over the next 3 days she becomes really dehydrated. Dehydrated means that someone lost a lot of water, and the concentration of water in his organism is extremely low. So we have some amount of water all the time in the cells, extracellularly, and in the blood. That dehydration is common after the diarrhea. On physical examination, she is afebrile. So, what is afebrile? Afebrile means the absence of fever. The absence of fever. So, not febrile, without fever, but has poor skin turgor. You see their example how to check the turgor in people. So you have to look at the skin and the fold cannot recover after you make it. So it means that you have less water in organism than necessary. Laboratory studies of the real fluid, flax of mucus. Mucus is whitish, so what does it look like? What does this the real fluid look like? I think it looks like the rice water, the rice broth. Yeah, so. But no blood and few white blood cells. You see there is some coincidence. This person is afebrile, so it doesn't have any type of high temperature or fever, and he has just few white blood cells. Why? Because this condition isn't inflammatory. It's toxic by its nature. So it's toxic. So this diarrhea is explained by the special exotoxin, the special toxin produced by bacteria called Vibrio cholerae in their fluids, in the stool. Why? Probably because they used some common common solutions, but in cholera they required special solution, special type of cultivation, special type of cultivation. The woman is hospitalized and receives intravenous fluid therapy for 1 week. As I said, this infection isn't invasive, so all the bacteria grow in the lumen of intestine, so they proliferate in the lumen, so they don't invade into the tissues, so they cannot produce any inflammation, any fever as a result of inflammation, but it causes a huge loss of fluids, and as a result we have to replace fluids. You can imagine someone suffering from this disease in the history, in the past. They had severe dehydration, but they didn't have their intravenous fluid therapy, fluid replacement. But oral replacement doesn't work. They drink water and they vomit. They drink water and they defecate it. So they cannot keep this water in the organism. It means that you need intravenous therapy, intravenous fluid therapy, just the physiological solution. Oh, cholera scheme you see acute diarrheal illness caused by infection of the intestine with bacterium Vibrio cholerae. Profuse watery diarrhea, rice water stools, vomiting, dehydration, secondary collapse, shock. So it's common in countries where their sanitary conditions are poor. So you should, no, I think you do so every time. Yeah, so you have quite a high level of culture. Okay, next story. A 5-year-old boy has had diarrhea for a week, averaging 6 low volume stools per day. Low volume stools per day, which appear mucoid and sometimes blood tinged. On physical examination, his temperature is 37.4. He has mild lower abdominal tenderness, but no masses. A stool culture is positive for Shigella zoonei. Which of the following microscopic findings would most likely be seen in this child's colon? So try to answer while I'm discussing the words, the concepts, this question touches. You see that this illness is acute, just 1 week, as the previous one, as cholera. The real diseases are usually self-limited. So they last for 7-10 days at most, and we cannot find some prolonged course in such in those diseases. Okay, so low volume stools. You see, this story is about colon, about large bowel involvement. Because when you examine a person with small intestinal pathology, you find high volume stools. In the cases of large bowel involvement, you have to find low volume ones. Okay. Mucoid and sometimes blood tinged. Of course, mucus might be explained by inflammation in the mucous membrane, but how to explain this blood? What must happen in the intestine, in the colon, as I said? What must happen? I think ulceration. Ulceration is the greater cause for blood-tinged diarrhea. On physical, so his temperature is 37.4. It's quite common in infections. Shigella zoonei. You see, this patient had microbiological investigation and underwent microbiological examination, and they revealed Shigellas. They revealed Shigella zoonei. In all the diseases, you can find that one disease, one causative agent. One disease, one causative agent. Sometimes we have 2-3 species causing one disease. In this case, You know, we have not just Shigella zuni, but also Shigella dysentery, Shigella flexneri. So there are 4 species related to dysentery. Which is following microscopic findings? Which are findings? A, okay, epithelial disruption with overlying neutrophilic exudate. How to explain this answer? These bacteria can invade into the mucous membrane and they cause the death of cells, the death of epithelium. Necrosis of cells is an initiator for purulent inflammation in this case. Purulent, fibrinous, purulent inflammation. Fibrinous and purulent all together. Here. Epithelial disruption and overlying neutrophilic exudate. So, I have chosen this table to show you. You see, common microbial causes of dysenteric diarrhea. So, dysentery is used in English literature as bloody diarrhea. So if someone has bloody diarrhea, he would receive the diagnosis acute dysentery, for example, acute dysentery. So, okay, look here further, and we will join all the information in one table in 5-10 minutes. In an epidemiological study of infections of the gastrointestinal tract, cases of patients living in Haiti from whom definite cultures were obtained are analyzed for clinical and pathologic findings that may be useful for diagnosis. A group of patients is identified who initially had abdominal pain and diarrhea during week 1 of their illness. By week 2, these patients had splenomegaly, the enlargement of spleen, and elevations in serum AST and LT levels. By week 3, they were septic and had leukopenia, low level of leukocytes. At autopsy, the patients who died were found to have ulceration of Pierre patches. Which of the following infectious agents is most likely to produce these findings? What do you think about this story? What's your answer? Please type in. Again, you see in this story their country which is supposed to be poor, yeah? With poor hygiene. Yeah, so we can expect a lot of intestinal infections in that part of the world. Then week 1, week 2, week 3. So this these patients suffered for a long time, not 1 week, not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks. They suffered for I think 5-6 weeks. The second marker is diarrhea, so they had their intestinal infections. Then they had splenomegaly, the enlargement of spleen. What is usually a sign of sepsis, and then elevated AST and LT levels, about liver injury, hepatitis. By week 3 they were septic and had leukopenia. So then they died and they found ulceration of pear pouches. So what's your answer? What's your answer? Guys, I can see the answer, sir. You wrote. I don't know. What do you think about this, sir? What you do think about this story? Please share your opinions. Share your opinions, please. Share what you think about this story. What's a disease, sir? Okay, the first one, Maximilian reached. Yes, sir, that's D, Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi. You see there typhoid, typhoid fever, 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 typhoid fever. And I'm going to show you this typhoid fever. I'm going to show you the gross specimen, which I have taken photo specially for you to show you these pear pouches, pear pouches, pear pouches, pear pouches. They are enlarged, they are swollen, so that's face called medullary swelling, Of course, you have to differentiate it from tuberculosis, where where their ulcers are perpendicular to longitudinal axis of intestine, yeah? So, like in this way, you see the ulcers, they are circumferential, of course, yeah. Oh, their total picture, the total picture to look at. Yeah, I think it's a time to take a screenshot here. I think that's a time to take the photo of this table. I've created that for today, and I made it several hours ago. You see the active agents for these three diseases, for cholera, for typhoid fever, and bacillary dysentery. So you see the active agents. If you have the disease similar to cholera, but you didn't find the active agent of cholera in the stool, you cannot make this diagnosis. The diagnosis in infectious pathology is based on microbiology, on biopsy sometimes, on some laboratory studies, but not on clinic. And if you have the disease similar to cholera, but you find Salmonella typhi in the stool, it must be typhoid fever. So we ignore clinical findings when we have the microbiological data. Microbiology prevails over clinic. Next, how does it harm? So in each microorganism you can find some special morphology, special abilities to do harm to our organism, to our tissue. So if you know these abilities, you can expect some clinical features, some concepts in diseases. Where does it harm? Small intestine in cholera, where the toxin works. Toxin works in small intestine mostly. However, we can't see the inflammation in this small intestine. We can't see the inflammation there. Ileum in typhoid fever, where invasion, incomplete phagocytosis, in the toxin are seen mostly in pear patches, and invasion with exotoxins, endotoxins in rectum, causing bacillary dysentery. Stool, we analyze stool first. Rice water broth like in cholera, yellowish. It reminds me of pea soup. Yellowish, a little bit watery, and little, like low volume, bloody, frequent, with painful defecation. Why painful defecation? Why painful defecation? Because of rectum involvement. So next, further I have to look at stages from the crop 1 standpoint. So we can find chronic enteritis with diarrhea at the first stage, choleric gastroenteritis, vomiting from stomach, diarrhea from small intestine, so nothing difficult for me, and choleric algite with severe dehydration. And as a result you can find hypovolemic shock. If you know something misses this lecture, you can share the link after it. You know, it must be kept by YouTube for a long time. Next, so this story is interesting because they use enteritis, gastroenteritis, even though the inflammation is absent. So those names are classic. So we can see the inflammation in the real life. In typhoid fever, look, invasion, incomplete phagocytosis in the toxin in the pear patches. First one, medullary swelling. Why medullary swelling? Because these pear patches are enlarged and their surface reminds of brain surface with sulci and gyri, and sulci. Then we see the necrosis of these plaques. Then dirty ulcers. Where? Timothy? In the same place. And then clean ulcers. Where? In the same place. And then healing. Where? In the same place. Okay, so all the changes are seen in their pear patches. But also this disease involves spleen, involves the lymph nodes of intestine and liver. So it looks like we handle with sepsis. Yeah. So hypovolemic shock due to hemorrhage or sepsis. Some ulcers might be too deeper. They can perforate with the formation of gate, yeah, like gateway for bacteria, and then peritonitis and sepsis and septic shock and death, for example. Dysentery is much simpler. We have catarrhal colitis, the simplest one, the simplest information in the life. It's the simplest information. You had it a lot of times and you didn't do anything. These catarrhal colitis are self-limiting. These cases are self-limiting. But because of the virulent factors of Shigella dysentery, their mucous membrane dies with necrosis and fibrin infiltrating their debris. Okay. Then necrotic tissues must be rejected. Similarly to the case we have seen in typhoid fever. Necrosis, then dirty ulcers. Fibrinolysis colitis, then ulcerative colitis. So necrosis and ulcers must heal. Hypovolemic shock, hemorrhages, sepsis, perforation, peritonitis, the same complications as you see in typhoid fever. Some students are curious why they split ulcers into two stages, dirty ulcers and clean ulcers. Why? First of all, dirty ulcers imply that the person had necrotic tissues on the bottom of ulcers. So necrotic tissues are brownish, yellowish, greenish, according to the color of stool. And we can see this necrotic, this debris in dirty ulcers, but we can see them in clean ulcers. The second reason is this scheme is very useful. You can see the medullary swelling on week 1, necrosis on week 2, dirty ulcers on week 3, clean ulcers on week 4, and healing on week 5. So it's useful for clinical reasons. Again, let's return to the story about typhoid fever. You see, they counted weeks, week 1, week 2, week 3, because this disease has important dynamics. It lasts for a long time with the changes each week. Okay, have we got guys? Yes, Pierre Parson, Walter, Maximilian Richter. Yes, that's right. Okay, let's move on. The childhood diseases. A 9-year-old girl has had a sore throat for the past 2 days. Again, acute disease. On physical examination, there is pharyngeal erythema with yellowish exudates over swollen palatine tonsils. A gram stain of the exudate shows gram-positive cocci in genes. She is given penicillin therapy. What is the most likely complication prevented by prompt treatment of this girl? So, answer please, sir. I look at the life chart and I'm going to check it a little bit later. You see a child, 9-year-old girl. So why? Because it's a childhood infection section. Yeah. So this section of our class is devoted to childhood infectious pathology. Has had a third throat. Pharyngitis is a sophisticated way to call third throat. So third throat is a common expression in casual conversations, but in medicine you should use pharyngitis instead. For the past 2 days, on physical examinations there is pharyngeal erythema. Pharyngeal erythema. What is this erythema? Erythema means their hypomia, their redness of pharynx, with yellowish exudates over swollen palatal tonsils. Yellowish exudates. So this story is about purulent inflammation. Where? In tonsils. Tonsillitis. So that's purulent tonsillitis or purulent pharyngeal tonsillitis. Pharyngeal tonsillitis because both are involved, pharynx and tonsils, I think. A gram stain of the exudate shows gram-positive cocci in chains. Microbiology drives, yeah. So gram-positive cocci in chains implies what? What? Streptococci. Streptococci. So they describe streptococcal infection. Streptococcal infection. She is given penicillin therapy. Surprisingly, streptococci might be killed by penicillin. It doesn't produce any kind of protection against penicillin. So over decades we use penicillin for such cases. Yeah, so why? Because it works. It works. What is the most likely complication prevented by prompt treatment of this girl? You thought pneumonitis, but actually we have discussed rheumatic fever. Rheumatic fever, guys, girls, you see, rheumatic fever is an autoimmune disease that can start in 1 to 2 weeks after streptococcal infection. You know, that must be carditis. Rheumatic fever includes carditis, arthritis, joints, inflamed skin rashes, and what else? Nodules and vascular lesions, vasculitis. So it must be carditis, and story is about angina or acute tonsillitis, very common nowadays amongst children. You see, pharyngitis in this case, redness of pharynx, redness and swollen tonsils there. So the most common causative agent is Streptococcus pyogenes, streptococcal infection, beta hemolytic Streptococcus group A to be precise. Low-grade fever, cervical lymphadenopathy, penicillin is a cure. Pseudomembranous pharyngitis is seen in diphtheria. Very thick. Let's look at this story. A 20-year-old woman has had increasing delirium is admitted to the hospital. On physical examination, she has acute pharyngitis with an overlying dirty white tough mucosal membrane. Paresthesias with decreased vibratory sensation are present in the extremities. On auscultation, there is an irregular cardiac rhythm. A chest radiograph shows cardiomegaly. A gram stain of the pharyngeal membrane shows numerous small gram-positive rods within a fibrinopulent exudate. Which of the following is the most likely mechanism for development of cardiac disease in this patient? So let's look at this story again. Let's revise it and try to answer, please. Try to type in the answer you suppose. Again, it's a young woman. Some childhood diseases are seen in young people instead of children. You know, it's common in diseases. We have the vaccines against fall. Yes, so against. So when we have the vaccines against bacteria, against diseases, we can prevent it mostly in children. But after a while, in 20, 30 years, you can get this infection because your immunity is lower, your level of antibodies against this bacteria is lower than those days. Okay, so these days we have some outbreaks of measles, of diphtheria, of other diseases. Vaccines are invented for, but these outbreaks are seen not just in children, but mostly amongst parents. Okay, had increase in delirium. Delirium. Do you know this word? Delirium. It's like delusions. Delusions. So she had productive psychiatric symptoms. Delusion. So it works. Delusion. You know, delusion. Oh yeah, I can't spell correctly, I think. Okay, so delirium for 2 days and is admitted to the hospital. This delirium is an indicator and a marker of high fever, of high intoxication. On physical examination, she has acute pharyngitis with an overlying dirty white tough mucosal membrane. Dirty white tough mucosal membrane. So that's her fibrinous inflammation, I think. Paresthesias when you cannot perceive the stimuli correctly. So in this case, vibratory sensation is broken. On auscultations, there is an irregular cardiac rhythm. So we have some troubles with vibratory sensation as well as with heart. A chest radiograph shows cardiomegaly. The involvement of heart is obvious, isn't it? A gram stain of the pharyngeal membrane shows numerous small gram-positive rods are not streptococci, aren't they? So they are Corynebacterium diphtheria within a fibrinopulent exudate. So we have seen that before. Which of the following is the most likely mechanism for development of cardiac disease in this patient? So the correct answer is Hey, and everyone is correct. Good job, guys. Yeah, so that's exotoxin-induced cell injury. Yeah, again, compare the purulent inflammation in tonsils, in angina, in scarlet fever, and fibrinosis, diphtheritic inflammation in diphtheria. So it is a death of tissue, the death of epithelium, a lot of fibrin, a lot of neutrophils, polymorphonuclear leukocytes, by other words. Okay. Yes, that's about diphtheria. The whitish membranes adherent to the tonsils. It might be not just in tonsil, but also in wounds, in genital organs. Sometimes it's transmitted by sexual intercourse. Yeah. So and this person is given why? Because of the swelling of his neck, bully neck. Okay. A 19-year-old previously healthy woman collapsed after complaining of a mild sore throat the previous day. On examination, she is hypertensive and febrile with purpuric skin lesions. Her peripheral blood smear shows schistocytes. Imaging studies show her adrenal glands are enlarged, and there are extensive bilateral cortical hemorrhages. Infection with retrovirulent organisms best accounts for these findings. Yes, you see, give me your answer for this question while I'm looking at some words or some tips you can use for this case. Again, it's not like she's not a child, yeah, she's a young woman, it doesn't matter. You know, childhood tumors might be seen in adults and vice versa. So we can expect the childhood infections in young people rather than in old people. Okay? But anyway, you can find either in adults as well as in children. Be careful with that. Mild sore throat, pharyngitis. On examination, she is hypertensive and febrile with high temperature, with purpuric skin lesions, bright red lesions. Her peripheral blood smear shows schistocytes. Imaging studies show her adrenal glands are enlarged. Why are they enlarged? Because of cortical hemorrhages. So hematomas are in adrenal glands, making them enlarged. The same hemorrhages you can see in skin. So hemorrhages are both in skin and in organs like adrenal glands. Adrenal gland pathology is responsible for hypertension. So you know, our adrenal glands produce adrenaline, dealing with blood pressure. So when your adrenal glands are damaged by tuberculosis, amyloidosis, hemorrhages, and so on, you have some troubles with blood pressure, hypertension, low blood pressure, So what's your answer? Yeah, Tijan, Rachel, great. Neisseria meningitidis. Yes, the correct answer is D. Neisseria meningitidis. Someone answered C. Mycobacterium tuberculosis. You see, in some cases, tuberculosis can lead to the replacement of other glands with connective tissue, with necrotic debris, and so on. But in this case, we had strong suggestion for Neisseria meningitidis, for meningococcal infection. Look again. This person had nasopharyngitis first, and then she developed meningococcemia with DIC. Yeah, so when someone has meningitis, we have to obtain the cerebrospinal fluid and look at the culture, look at the bacteria in it. And the bacteria causing meningitis depend on age. For example, in children, you see Haemophilus influenza is common, as well as Neisseria meningitidis. Yeah. And also, Neisseria meningitidis is less common. Why? Because in children they have no immunity against capsule of Neisseria. Oh, look at the skin, and we can go through it again. In diphtheria, the active agent is Conibacterium diphtheria, rods. How does it harm? With necrotoxin. So this disease is similar to dysentery, with necrotoxin, with direct injury of the membrane. It might be in pharynx, in tonsils, then it might be in respiratory tract, and some minor forms like I have showed in wounds, in genital tract, and so on, they might be. Inflammation is fibrinose, crupose in respiratory tract, and diphtheritic in pharynx. Complications are asphyxia. Why? Because these films, these membranes might occlude the lumen of respiratory tract. The first story. Suffocation. So they suffocate. Also, the exotoxin of Conibacterium diphtheria can lead to ulcerative myocarditis and neuritis, inflammation in neurons, inner axons of our nerves. Scarlet fever. Again, diphtheria because of diphthera, films, membranes. Scarlet fever, why? Because of scarlet, red. Scarlet is a bright red color. For those who didn't know, scarlet is a bright red color. So in such people we see their bright red color of tone, of tonsils, bright red rushes all over the skin, except for triangle between mouth and nose. So for the reasons I don't know, I'm not sure at least, these rushes are not seen in the triangle between nose and mouth. Again, the complications, paratonsillar or retropharyngeal abscesses, so when bacteria invade deeper and deeper, they can cause the necrosis of tissues in paratonsillar or retropharyngeal spaces. And autoimmune reactions against streptococci can lead to rheumatic fever and post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. By the way, I've lectured about post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis a little bit. Meningococcal infection. The causative agent is Neisseria meningitidis, a capsule enabling it to grow in immature hosts, mostly in children under 5, under 7. The forms of disease, nasopharyngitis, the inflammation where? In the upper part of pharynx, in nasopharynx, in upper part of pharynx. Then you see meningitis, of course it must be, and the interesting fact is that Neisseria can spread directly from the mucous membrane of pharynx to the meninges. How? They are close. They are close to each other. Their upper part of pharynx is close to the meninges of their cranial fossae. So they are close to each other, direct spread. And meningococcemia we have seen is the case meningococcal sepsis. Complications: meningitis with brain edema, meningococcemia with disseminated intravascular coagulation, and syndrome Waterhouse-Friderichsen. Let's look at this story again. So, meningococcemia, the growth of bacteria, where? In blood. Where? In blood, coccemia, in blood, inducing their disseminated coagulation, disseminated thrombi all over our small vessels. And then coagulopathy of consumption, coagulopathy, and hemorrhages. We have seen these hemorrhages. Look at them again. Bilateral cortical hemorrhages, purpuric skin lesions. So we have seen the syndrome, Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Yeah, Waterhouse-Friderichsen. You see a very hard, very complicated name. Waterhouse. Yeah, you know what is that? And Friderichsen, son of Friedrich. Yeah, so Waterhouse-Friderichsen. That's bilateral hemorrhages in adrenal glands. Yeah, so that was the last slide. I look at the questions. Yeah, so I hope you heard me, you heard my voice. I've explained some tips you can use for your Core 1 exam. Also, I want to indicate that practice makes perfect. You have to look at different kinds of tasks in order to understand the concepts better. So you can ask me on Viber, on WhatsApp, you can ask me in the comments of this movie. Also, I would appreciate if you called me and asked me personally. I'd like my students, I'd like to communicate with them. Moreover, I would like to ask you for comments, for your feedback about this session, about this kind of presentation, about the stuff you miss most. Probably I can make a dream true, yeah? Turn your dream true. Okay? Good luck. I hope it works. I think you are a little bit in a little bit stressful circumstances. You should communicate with each other, with teachers, with your friends, classmates, and so on. Because we are humans, we are human beings. We are supposed to communicate. We are supposed to socialize, and it's an extraordinary situation to avoid these contacts. We have to replace them, we have to replace the direct contacts, but we have so many techniques, so many abilities to keep in touch, to keep up with. So I must look at yeah. Thanks for your comments, sir. Best wishes, sir. All the best, sir. Have a good day. Have a good lifetime. Yeah.